When I was a kid, I really liked chocolate, so there was this like huge tub of like brown powder. I thought it was like, oh, it's hot chocolate. I could probably just take a handful of it and like eat it. So I just shoved it into my mouth, and it was the worst taste in my entire life as a kid. My parents came and they were just like, what did you do? I pointed to like the jug and they were just like, that's coffee.
Okay, we are back once again for the Coatedinacid podcast, and we have Chrees.
Hello.
Yeah, so today I just decided to bring Chrees on, I guess, because now we have... So I interviewed Munir, then I interviewed Onzu, and then now Chrees. Basically, I guess, the completionist route. I guess, like, everyone in the Nature crew, that's, I guess... Yeah, I guess everyone in the Nature crew, not everybody, but, like, basically everybody, so...
The ones that are, like, very active.
Right. The only two... I guess the two other people... Well, I guess Paul and Slugs. Slugs is like geographically, like there's a discrepancy, but Paul will be on another episode, but like in the future. So, but today we have Chrees.
I think Paul's busy with jobs, right? Or
I have no idea, dude.
I think he was at Tokusei or...
Oh, he works at Knots. He probably still works at Knots. He's still in school, so...
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, right. He's still in school. He's got another year, just like Onzu does.
Mm-hmm. And then I have grad school, so that's 2 years.
Right. So you're starting in...
I'm starting not next Monday. Next Monday.
Okay, so next Monday.
Yeah. August 21st.
Okay. So, I guess I've known Chrees since 4th grade. Chrees since 4th grade, Mr. Myers.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly how we met, but we were just homies, and like we hung out with Shivam too, who was in one of the Nature Crew podcast episodes actually. Shivam, I remember Aaron Chung and Rafael Villegas, which he's good friends with Paul right now, and also Munir. We actually met Munir in 4th grade too, but I guess I didn't really become greater friends with Munir till like a year later. But we did meet in 4th grade, and he came like in the middle of the school year. But yeah, I've known Chrees since 4th grade, and yeah, it's been a while. I mean, everybody from the crew, excluding Paul, all went to the same elementary. So I've just known Chrees for a long time, and yeah, I mean, I remember being in his house, or like being in his general neighborhood too, a lot too. So we just go back pretty far, like in our childhood. Yeah. So you are going to grad school. So like so August 21. So which grad school?
I'm going to Cal State LA.
Cal State LA.
Yeah, I'm going to do electrical engineering, and my focus will be communication systems.
Oh, okay. Communication systems. You did say you were prioritizing the job, right? Or like finding a job?
Yes. So, my plans right now, it's like I'm getting a job no matter what, but it doesn't really have to be in my field. Right now, I'm in queue for LUSD to be a project engineer, but it doesn't really relate to communication systems. So I'm hoping throughout my entire grad school I maintain this job, and that after my grad school I could go into my field as an engineer 1, engineer 2, and sort of pick up my career from there.
Right. So you do plan to do parts, like relatively part-time, like as a student?
Yeah, part-time as a student. I'm taking about 6 units, which is 2 classes, and I'm doing Monday through Thursday, 1 class per day.
Monday through Thursday, 1 class. Oh, okay. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, so I have like a Monday, Wednesday, and then Tuesday, Thursday.
Okay.
And they're all in the evening.
Right. So, wait. So you say you were queued for LAUSD, and are you listening back for other like offers, or are you just queued for?
I'm also listening back to other offers. I hope I get something in electrical engineering, but I don't think. There's a lot of factors that go into searching for a job, but the primary ones that I've been looking at are location and pay. So with location, I want to be close to my grad school, so that when I'm done with work, I can immediately go to school, and I could go to my class, or uh, in the future I'm doing like a research path for my grad school, so I could, if uh, my work finishes early, I could go work on research. And with pay, obviously I want something that's, not extortionate. There was this one position out in Harbor City, and they wanted me to go into basically training for a year, and then I'll be officially an engineer. But their starting rate for me was $24 an hour, which is basically what I was earning as an intern. So I didn't really think that was something that was wise for me. Plus, it was a really small company, and when you're looking for a job, you want something that's more long term, and small companies are not really good for that.
Right. So a whole year of training, like unpaid even, or
No, it's for 24 $24 an hour.
oh, okay. So the training, but then but even after you finish the training, it's still 24.
I have no idea, but I suspect so. It's a really small company, and they definitely do some big projects, but it didn't seem like it would be really expansive. They do satellites, and they make satellites, they test them, and they showed me the entire process of from conceptualizing to designing and testing, but it didn't seem like they were going to expand more, and I don't think that if I had a future there, it would have lasted as long, especially if there's like bad times essentially for the company.
Right. So okay. So you're looking also for bigger companies, I guess.
More sustainable companies.
Sustainable.
When you're looking for a job, you want something that's stable and something that went like that. If its products were a little bit bad, it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? One of the other companies that I interviewed for, I was looking online and reading through the reviews from other workers, former workers, or customers, and this company had a problem where only one product was carrying them. And if that product failed in the future, or if there's more competition or other companies that could replicate that sort of technology, then that company would ultimately fail in the market, and then would collapse, and layoffs would occur, and usually you don't want to be laid off. You'd rather quit before laying off.
Right. So you've been how long have you been job hunting?
So I started since I graduated, so May. I did a little bit beforehand, like starting February. I had like one or two applications I sent out. I got a few interviews, and I sort of learned from those, but I've been mainly taking it seriously from May to July, and then now it's August. I have school coming up, and right now I just want to chill.
Right. So May, you also ended your internship with Edison as well?
Yeah. So we weren't sure how the internship would interact with grad school, or like me transitioning to grad school. And I talked to some of the supervisors. They said it was a little bit iffy. So I sort of just, it wasn't me, but I didn't pursue Edison, and there wasn't a position within my department, which is the wireless engineering, telecommunications. There was a few other ones, but those were the two that I was mainly working with. There wasn't really a spot for me. It was mainly upper engineers, like engineer 3s, engineers 2s, which need like 5, 10, 20 years of experience to fill those roles, and I have one as an intern. So I looked at other companies for something that didn't require as much experience.
Right. So you said you're like chilling this month, and you're getting ready for school. So have you wait? So which was Cal State LA that you're going to?
Yeah, Cal State LA.
So have you been to Cal State LA before?
No, but I'm planning to do like a trip. I'm gonna like ask some people like, hey, you down to just drive to Cal State LA and then just chill there, and then yeah, I'll probably like look at the campus. But if anything, there's probably a map online. I could probably look at it and figure out where I'm gonna park or how far I'm gonna have to walk.
Right. So you have to get like a parking pass, and you probably have to go there and like find where your classes are.
Yeah. The parking pass, I looked online. It's like $200.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's standard for a lot, well, for Cal State LA's or Cal State universities, but I mean that's a lot, to be honest, just to pay for parking. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to like experiment with how fast I could go. I mean, with the LAUSD job, I have like my dad who's been telling me he works at LAUSD, so I know a little bit more about how it runs. I know the primary schedule for project engineers are 7 to 3:30. So if I do end up going to LAUSD and still be at Cal State LA, I know that I'll have enough time to like walk around after work.
Right. So it's like LAUSD is like pretty close to Cal State LA.
Depends, but I know that they will position me pretty close to where I live, or pretty close to where I want. So if I do take LAUSD, they'll position me like 3 or 5 miles away from Cal State LA.
Oh, okay. So that's cool. So have you been like school shopping, or do you know? Do you ever? Is there like a way you practice like in the summer, like right before, or like you like prepare for school? I guess especially for a new, like you're like transitioning from college to grad school, and then just like when we went from high school to college, and then junior high to high school and stuff.
Just gaming.
Oh, gaming. So what have you been playing?
Frame Makers, which is a Smash clone. I really like the game just because you could have like custom characters in it, and you could play other people's custom characters. There's mobile games I've been playing like Brawl Stars, Clash of Clans, and then the main games I've been playing are Monster Hunter World, not Rise, and Genshin.
Right, because I remember. I think you said you like took a break off Brawl Stars, but you're back into Brawl Stars now.
Yeah, I'm doing Brawl Stars a lot more casually than before, simply because they recently reworked some of the rewards for Power League, which is basically ranked, and Club League, which is basically, think of clan capitals from Clash of Clans. They nerfed those rewards so that they could have like a loot box system essentially, but it's not like you have to pay for it. You just have to play you have to win 8 games in a day. But the competitive aspect of Brawl Stars doesn't feel as rewarding as before, which is why it's sort of fading from me personally. But I still enjoy the game. I still enjoy playing certain characters like Byron, like Pam. It's a lot of the healers and supports I really like playing. But yeah, I will eventually go back into Brawl Stars. Just I wish they didn't do that change where they nerfed the rewards.
Right. So, and you've also been getting back into Genshin as well, because I think you also took a break from that as well. Or?
Yeah, I took a break. I was playing pretty casually before, and after a bit, it kind of faded for me. It was primarily because I felt a lot of the content was getting too repetitive, and the the characters I was playing were basically the same things, whereas just like one character could basically one shot everything. We had characters that would just freeze everything, nothing would move, and it just felt boring for me. It didn't feel impactful, but now I'm picking it back up. I have a few new characters that I randomly pulled, and I've been enjoying them recently. And one of the main things that's been pushing me is that they're releasing a new region, Fontaine. I think it's Tuesday next week, which is, I think, either 15th or 16th. I'm not too sure. I don't have my calendar up, but they have a new region. They have more story, and I want to be able to progress through Fontaine, and not have any of the previous quests that I've been not doing hold me back.
Right. So, I guess so. The month of August, you've been, I guess, like gaming. Like that's just like the main thing you've been doing these days.
Yeah.
So yeah. What is your, I guess, schedule in terms of that?
So I wake up at like 10, and then I eat, and then I game for a bit till I believe around 4, and then I do like a mini lunch, I guess, and from like 5 to 7 I start like prepping myself to work out, and by like drinking a bunch of water, make sure I'm peeing everything out, and so forth. And then I work out from like 7 to 9, or sometimes like 8 to 10. I have a little snack afterwards, because what I know from working out is that you shouldn't, after you work out, you shouldn't have an air, like you shouldn't be empty. Well, between when you end your workout and when you go to sleep, you shouldn't have an empty stomach, or like no fuel essentially. And from I take a shower, and then I sleep at like 2. But my sleep schedule has been getting worse and worse, and it's been because of like me working out at night instead of in the day. So it slowly became like 2 to 3 to 4, and then today I didn't sleep till like 9.
Oh, okay, I see. So, how often are you like on your mobile gaming versus like PC gaming?
It really depends. Some days I'm just like, I'm gonna grind my PC games, so I'm like 100% on it. Some days I'm just like, I'm too lazy to like boot up my computer. I'm on my phone. I think those days are more like 80-20, but for days that I want to grind, I'm like 100% on my PC.
Oh, okay. So your sleep schedule has been kind of being shifted later and later. Yeah, I can definitely relate to that. Apparently it has to do with sunlight. Apparently, I guess if the body doesn't see enough sunlight, then for some reason the circadian rhythm gets shifted by like 30 minutes to even an hour. Like normally it should be like 24 hours. And I actually, to me that makes, or like, I saw that on a YouTube video of a guy, I guess Ray Su. I have talked about him on the podcast, but he made a video about why you're waking up later and later every day. And yeah, I guess it makes sense, because a lot of the times I'm just home, and then while you're inside your house, even though you have windows, it's still like not as much sunlight as if you were directly outside. And also just, you can't really get it all at once too. You have to do it during 3 different times in the day. So like when you wake up, you go out for sunlight for 30 minutes to an hour, and then same thing around lunchtime, and then same thing around the evening. like right before sunset. So I never actually tried doing that, but thinking back, especially in college, my third year of college, I did have a pretty good sleep schedule when I had class, because I was going out like randomly, or maybe not randomly, but I was going out often to go to class, and I would see the sun just like walking to class and coming back from class. So that makes sense too. But yeah, I can see how just like when you're in your house all day, like the sleep schedule gets shifted. Like I am also sleeping pretty late these days too. Like last night I actually slept at 4. So this past like week or two, it is kind of weird, because I actually got back into running somewhat. So before that, I was sleeping like sometimes even at like 5 or 6 in the morning. But then I went for, I guess, my second run after like 6 months. I think my mom was calling me. I'm not too sure. If she calls my name again, I'll probably have to pause the podcast. But anyways, right. So my church group, my church group. So I'm now in the young adult service. So they have every Monday, they have Monday run days in the Cerritos Park. So I was like, man, it's been 6 months since I ran. I've been like scared of running because like it's very painful. Or like my the few times I've ran like within the 6 months, like I've experimented, like it will always be painful. But I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go. Like, well, first of all, to like get to know people, because I just joined, right? I just joined this like young adult service, so I don't know anybody. So I should do it to get to know people, because that's just important. And then, but also I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see if I can even run. It's been 6 months, and that whole time I was doing the knees over toes program, aka like strengthening my lower legs. They still have a lot to go in terms of strengthening. Like there's, I guess, there's like standards. If you hit the standards, that's like elite, or like that's like top 80% or 90% of population. And then yeah, so but yeah, I was like, okay, let's just do it. And then I did it, and I was like, what the heck? So I wore my ultras, and that makes me like an inch taller. So that has like a cushioning of like about an inch. And I actually ran it, but I did run differently. I think that was the biggest thing, was I ran differently. Like for example, if you swim without knowing how to swim, then your form isn't great, and you're like not very efficient, and you get tired really easily. But for example, like someone like Onzu, he knows what he's doing. He can swim. You know, he said he's the most he swam was like 2 miles, right? But that's just because he has good form. So I realized, actually earlier I showed you Born to Run 2, the book I was reading. I ran Born to Run 1 before that, and the biggest advice that book gave me was put on a metronome, put on 180 beats per minute, and then run to that beat. And then also land on the forefoot, keep your back straight, and yeah, forefoot strike, back straight, drive like on the ground rather than land, like thudding. Try to be smooth when you run. So I kept that in mind. I kept all that in mind, because I was like a heel striker runner, and you're technically not supposed to heel strike run. That's more than likely what caused my injuries, like heel strike running. I guess that term is jogging specifically, but yeah, so because I did that, I ran, and I was like I was sore like for literally 5 days, but on the muscle, and I didn't have like the usual bone pain, or like just, I'm not sure, tendon pain. I'm not too sure what exactly is in pain, but like bone pain, just the stuff that's not supposed to be in pain. Like I didn't have that. I just had a lot of muscle soreness, which is a lot better. So that was a crazy discovery. And also the track material is much different than the road. The road is much harder, like a harder surface. So I think all those factors. So changing the way I run, running on a softer surface than road, which all I have outside, like for example, my house right now, it's all road. But you know, if I were to run on grass or dirt, that's also better than running on road. So all those like factors, and I was able to run again. So I'm like, okay. So I kind of solved it in a way, because I think the biggest thing was the form. Is probably like the most priority. And then second, maybe like the surface too, like matters, at least in the beginning, because right now I need to build back up my running. I haven't ran in a while. But yeah, so I guess I'm gonna keep going. Like I only went 2 times. The second time I went, like I got home, and normally I was sleeping at like again like 5 or 6 a.m. But just that day I slept at 1. I just knocked out. Went home and knocked out. Woke up at like 11. So I just knocked out for like 10 hours. So I think also if you run enough, I think running also is like good for the sleep too. Or just like being overall active, especially I guess maybe it has to do with running, maybe it has to do with like heart rate or something, or like cardiovascular exercise or something. But yeah, it said there's like a quote from the Born to Run book. It's like, oh, if you, it's like good for meditational, I guess. It's like a way to meditate in a way, running. And it's like, oh, if you're still like mentally bothered after a 4-hour run, then you're not gonna find answers. That's like one of the, like, that's paraphrasing. That's like one of the quotes from the book. So I guess I was talking about sleep, but that also was like, oh, running, or I guess just like cardiovascular exercise or whatever it is, that can also affect your sleep.
Yeah, I think for me it's sort of the opposite, where I've been doing like a little bit more stamina training with like my elliptical. I feel because I'm doing it so late at night, my body has like a lot of adrenaline from training, from lifting weights, from doing the elliptical, that it doesn't wear off until like 2 a.m. or like 3 a.m. So I was thinking for me, since I can't really work out earlier in the day because it's hot as hell and all of my gym equipment is in my garage, I don't really have anywhere else to work out in. I was thinking of just basically cutting my workout and then focusing more on my my food intake and looking at like what calories I've been doing to help me with my weight loss instead of exercising, because exercising has been negatively affecting my sleep schedule simply because I don't really have a better time to exercise.
Right. I think the Reisu video I saw also mentioned that, like, try not to exercise right before, or I somewhere, even I think in the Born to Run book, it might have said something along those lines of like working out before you sleep. But apparently it has to do with body heat. Like when you exercise, your body's kind of warm. Ideally, you want your body to be cold. Like I've heard actually a lot of times a cold environment helps with sleep.
Yeah, that's why like my house, we're like blasting the AC like 24/7. Like in right now, like it's the summer, right? And it's really hot. I can't sleep without like the AC on, and it kind of sucks because like I don't want to be blasting the AC 24/7. That's like all of electricity, and the electricity bill would just be like going up and up. But I mean, I can't really change the weather, so.
Right. Yeah, that is true. If it is warm, sometimes I sleep with the fan on, and yeah, that's the only way I can sleep. If I don't have the fan, then I'm gonna have a hard time sleeping. But I guess these days, like I guess this like past week or so, it hasn't been that hot. But I remember earlier August and late July, it was more like mid 90s. Now these days it's like high 80s, low 90s. So it's been a little cooler these days. But yeah, I see what they mean when it comes to like colder environments is better. Literally, oh no, it was the Alex Hormozy video actually. I saw Alex Hormozy video about him talking about sleep, and he said, yeah, we just keep the AC on because just colder environments is better for sleeping. And I also heard that your core body temperature goes down while you are asleep. So, and I also think about times when I have to wake up before, like I naturally wake up, like I have to wake up early, and I feel like physically cold. So, yeah, I don't know, just something to do with biology or something. But yeah, so I guess it's just been more difficult due to the fact that we just live in a really warm place to live. So, yeah, that's just sleep. But yeah, I think ever since, even though I've been running once a week, like I guess these days I've been sleeping a little better. because yeah, it was kind of wackier. Like it was like before I guess that run, but now it's more like 3 or 4 a.m. I'm not too sure. Like I think there's a lot of factors that go into sleep, so I'm not exactly sure what exactly is causing my sleep these days, at least, to be more consistent. But yeah.
I think I remember in high school biology, or I think it was high school biology or college biology. Whenever you sleep, your body lowers its temperature to conserve energy or something like that. I don't really recall it that too well, like the fact or what was said or where it was said, but I remember your body just basically dropping its body temperature when you sleep. And I think when it's pretty hot, your body warms up and it starts to get confused whether or not it's being like it's in its wake state or where it's supposed to be asleep. And I guess that's also could affect your sleep schedule. Don't quote me on that though, because I'm not completely familiar with the study, or if this was actually a true fact, or if I just read it somewhere.
Right. I think the whole sunlight thing also makes sense because, especially when I was in, I think also high school, but especially when I was working, it was during the winter time, so the days were short, or sunlight was shorter than like the nighttime, so the days were shorter. And I was in an office all day, and like I didn't really see the sun, so I would consistently sleep 7 hours like in the weekdays, and then 9 hours on the weekends. So I'd like make my sleep back up, and then if I were to stay up till like 11 or just like stay up relatively late, then that would kind of just like ruin my sleep, or it would make me really tired for a couple of days. So, but I think I just didn't really see the sun that much during that time. But because I had work, I was just forced to like, okay, I can't just sleep in today. I have to like go. I have to wake up at 5 and do boom, 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 right? There was like an element of like responsibility that was there too. So, yes, I guess like also that element of responsibility like plays a factor. Obviously, the mind, knowing that okay, we can't just, I guess, sleep in today, or we can't, sleep later than we should. But also, I think sunlight has to do with it. Just we're just human. We're supposed to be outside. I guess back in the day, when we were like in our primal days, we were supposed to be outside. And if your body doesn't see the sun, that's like kind of unnatural. And it's like, oh, what the heck is going on? Because apparently there's this one experiment like this guy did, like I think some English guy, and he locked himself up in a cave basically, and his circadian rhythm was 25 hours. Like it became 25 hours. So I'm not sure if that's also like a evolutionary adaptation. Like, is there an adaptation for some reason you don't see sunlight for you to wake up an hour later a day or something? I don't know.
I believe it's because with sunlight, I believe it's supposed to give you certain vitamins or something, or it's supposed to activate something in your skin. But I think it's just because your body definitely just needs sunlight. I forgot the whole thing with it, but I remember my mom kept on like telling me, hey, you need to be out like walking before 10 because UV lights, blah blah blah, and you need to get like your vitamin D from like the sunlight. And I believe that's because that vitamin is the reason why we need to go out and get more sunlight, and that like vitamin D also affects your sleeping schedule, I believe your mood as well.
Right. So there's this guy named Bryan Johnson. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's like some guy who's like extremely healthy. He's trying to optimize his health as best he can, and he's got like 100% sleep score, like every day for like a year or something like that. Where basically, according to some sleep tracker, I'm not sure what software he uses, but according to a sleep tracker, he's been getting perfect marks on his sleep. So basically, perfect sleep every day. And I looked at his protocol. He actually puts his like entire living protocol for free on the internet, and he actually takes melatonin, like 500 I think micrograms of melatonin or 50, or I don't know, but he takes melatonin like right before, like a few hours before he sleeps. So he does melatonin supplementation. So I'm not too sure, and he's very pale. Like his skin is very pale, which makes sense because he does take care of his skin a lot. Like his skin is very important to him, and sunlight does like jack up the skin if you're under it too much. But I'm not too sure how much sunlight he sees because he is very pale. So, but he does take a melatonin supplement. So, yeah.
I'm not really too sure about that whole thing. Like I like for me, like without like as much information as you do, I'm just a little bit skeptical, simply because I'm not too sure what this like sleep score is. Like, how is it measured? What metrics are they looking for? Is it they're looking for the various cycles when you go to sleep? Like, I believe I forgot what it is, but I think it was like REM, which is rapid eye movement, or I forgot, but it was basically just your cycles when you sleep. So I'm not really sure what this sleep score is, but what I do know is like the melatonin thing. I don't really like taking melatonin because I remember back in high school I did have a bit of a sleeping problem where I would basically not be able to sleep till like 2 or 4 again, and then I would have to wake up at like 6 a.m. for a zero period. And at that time, I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take like a melatonin gummy and I'll sleep at like 10 so that I could like try to fix my sleep schedule. And it worked for a bit, but then I became dependent on melatonin. So I had to like basically force myself through withdrawal and just try to cut melatonin out. And I'm not too sure if I would recommend melatonin for people, especially if you don't have sleeping problems, or if you don't have like insomnia.
Yeah, I've never experimented with melatonin before. I did know somebody in college who also had like crazy story with melatonin, where he like knocked out for like 12 hours or something, or he like ate too much, or he didn't know they were like melatonin gummies or something like that, and he knocked out for a long time. But yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure. I guess it works for him, for Bryan Johnson. I guess he is chill with eating, a daily melatonin supplement. It seems to work out for him. Again, I'm not too sure. I guess my biggest question is like, how would he deal with if suddenly he's under circumstance where he doesn't have his, like supplements, or because I have seen like a clip of him like, when he travels, he has like, he has to bring a lot of stuff because like to take care of his like, he has like so many protocols, like skin health, eye health, just everything health, right? So it's like a hassle for him because he has to bring so much stuff. But yeah, I guess he's like retired. I guess he's like retired, so he doesn't really have work. Well, he doesn't have, I guess, like regular work. He is still like an internet personality, and I'm sure he has like, that's his work. But that's when you're at that point, I guess, or when you have that occupation, you have more control over your life. So, but yeah, I guess it works for him. So I've never experimented with melatonin, I don't plan to, because same thing with caffeine. I don't intake caffeine. Like, I try not to mess with that stuff because I've just heard like stories of like, people having a hard time when they don't have their cup of coffee. Or also, one of the tips of like optimizing your sleep is, don't have caffeine after 12 o'clock or something, or after this time, or this many hours before bed. And I'm like, I just don't drink caffeine at all. So I don't mess with the caffeine or melatonin. So
For me, I have two parts for caffeine. One, when I was a kid, my parents told me, hey, if you drink coffee or if you take like any form of caffeine, it'll make you shorter. And I didn't want that. Like, I fully believe them, but I don't think that's the case. But they told me caffeine makes you shorter, and I just never did. The second reason was when I was a kid, I really liked chocolate. So there was this like huge tub of like brown like little like powder. And I looked at it. I was like, this has to be hot. Like this has to be chocolate, like chocolate. Cocoa
Hot chocolate.
yeah, hot chocolate. So I forgot the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was like, oh, it's hot chocolate. I could probably just heat this up and like drink it, or like I could just take like a handful of it and like eat it. So I just grabbed a handful. I was just like, I'm too lazy to microwave this. So I just shoved it into my mouth, and it was the worst taste in my entire life as a kid. And I spit that out. My parents came like into the kitchen because they hear me like gagging a lot, and they're just like, "What did you do?" And I pointed to like to the jug, and they were just like, "That's coffee." So yeah, I just shoved like a bunch of coffee grind into my mouth, not knowing what it was.
Thinking it was chocolate.
Thinking it was chocolate.
Dang. So ever since then, like, have you drank coffee at all? Like, have you actually like ever since, or?
Not really. I mean I had Starbucks, which is but like it was like
That's not even coffee. It's just.
no, but like I had.
Oh, okay.
I had a non-coffee one. I think it was non-caffeinated, but I forgot what it was called. But I think I have no idea what it was called. But it wasn't coffee. Essentially, it was just basically warm milk.
Yeah.
It tasted good though.
Yeah, I think I've had a few caffeinated drinks here and there. Like coffee and I've had coffee before, but like I'd take it, and I don't personally think I'd feel that different. I never actually drank a full like regular size cup of coffee. I guess like I've never really done that before. Just like a straight cup of coffee, or like black coffee, the size of, whatever, 6 ounce or 8 ounce, and just like drank it. I've never had like a full cup of coffee before, but I've had like tea, like boba like milk tea has caffeine in it. One time, while I was, I guess, waiting out my lease at UCI, I hung out with my friend Jerry, and we ended the night with boba tea, and it was like we had like oolong milk tea or something like that, and then I did fall asleep, but it like affected my sleep, where the sleep didn't even feel like I slept, and it was so weird. And like, yeah, so that was like an experience, because I drank the boba, and it was like, that was like 2 hours before I went to bed. So yeah, I guess that was one experience I had with caffeine. But yeah, I've never actually like tried it, I guess. Like, I might have had a Monster, maybe like tasted a Monster, but I think in terms of caffeinated drinks, I would either taste it or it'd just be like boba. And then even with boba, I don't really drink an entire boba thing, because to me boba's like pretty dang sweet. So I drink some, and then I give the rest to my mom or my dad. So yeah, I don't really have that much experience with caffeine. I don't necessarily think I'm one of those people who are like super sensitive to caffeine either. I think I'm just like I normally react to it. And I'm sure it would like help me out with, like, there's a lot of benefits of caffeine. Apparently it's like, oh, it makes your cognitive function really good or something like that. But yeah, I don't really consistently take it. Like both my dad and my mom drink coffee every day. Same with my sister, but I just don't. So
For me, my experience with caffeine was through green tea. I used to drink it for late nights when I would have like a project or homework due the next day, or if I was studying for a test. And usually it kept me awake for like, I don't know, like 15, 20 minutes, a little bit longer. But it made me more prone to like spacing out. I think it's just because like I was preventing myself from sleeping. So my brain's like half asleep, like half trying to fall asleep, half like fully awake because of the caffeine. So that's like how caffeine affected me. But I think in regular circumstances, if it's like in the middle of the day where I'm not tired and I drink like caffeinated tea, it doesn't hit me at all.
Right. It's normally like coffee is the most popular caffeine source, but then sometimes you eat something and you go, oh, and you think again, you're like, oh, that has caffeine. Like I guess I don't really drink Diet Coke and Coke, but in some sodas like Diet Coke and Coke, that has caffeine in it. Chocolate has caffeine in it. Yeah, milk tea has caffeine in it. So sometimes here and there I would eat something and like not realize that's caffeine, or it has like a small amount of caffeine. But yeah, I guess that's just caffeine.
Speaking of like caffeinated drinks, have you heard of Prime Energy?
Oh, that has caffeine. Oh, they made they
They
made
made an energy drink
yeah.
for Prime, and I think it's going on like it just released, but I think they're going under a lawsuit right now.
Really?
Yeah, so I think it's something to do with like accidentally like selling to children, or like the intended audience wasn't supposed to be children and children are drinking it. But these caffeinated drinks are generally dangerous, which is why I don't like to drink them. I don't believe in like electrolyte drinks, simply because I mean, well, electrolyte drinks for quenching your thirst, simply because in theory electrolytes will be draining the water from your body rather than replenishing the water in your body.
Right. So yeah, it would make sense that Prime is appealing to children a lot, because that stuff is like extremely sweet. It's like packed with, I guess, a lot of artificial sugar. Because like we did try it that one time in the Nature Crew channel, and it was like super sweet, and it was like the tropical punch flavor. And actually one of my like the church friends, like I went to the last time actually I went running, he had Prime the lemon lime flavor, and I was like, oh, can I try it? So I tried it, and initially it tasted like Gatorade, and I was like, oh, that's not that bad. And then boom, the sweetness hit me, and I was like, oh, okay, so all drinks, all the Prime is like this, where it's like ridiculously sweet, and like you have to dilute it and stuff. So yeah, and then again, it was kind of, I think because of the artificial sugar, that does like more so take away the water from you, because something to do with osmosis, right? Yeah, and I see what you mean, because like you can't really hydrate yourself with, I guess, soda with sugar in it. Diet soda, I guess, is a different story, but like, you know, if anything, soda, like regular soda would make you more dehydrated, because I guess it has sugar in it, and I guess that takes away the water, or that causes you have to use up water to digest the sugar. Apparently people who are on keto, they lose a lot of water weight, because it just takes a lot more water to digest sugar. But since they don't digest sugar, or that much sugar, they just don't need as much water, so they lose a lot of water weight initially. Like that's what it said. So I read that in the Born to Run book too, because it does kind of preach the keto / low carb diet, because it does say fat is a better energy source than sugar is, and it does make sense, because fat is 9 calories per gram, while carbs are 4 calories per gram. And endurance athletes especially primarily use fat for energy, like during the races, like super long races especially, like because it does. Born to Run talks the most about ultra marathoners, because regular marathons are kind of just are kind of short relative to like the distances ultra marathoners run, which is double or even quadruple marathon distance. So like literally like days running rather than hours running. Like a marathon, I believe the cutoff time is around 6 hours, but there's 100-milers, like stories of people running 100-milers, and the cutoff is like 30 hours or something like that, or something. So they run for literally days. So that book does suggest like fat burning, or like the keto diet. And it also talks about, I think that's how our ancestors, or like back in the primal days, like we also kind of functioned off of fat reserves, because sugar was more scarce. Like the only way they can have sugar was like fruit or something like that. Otherwise, animal meats were like the main thing we ate, and I guess hunting and gathering, whatever it was, like nuts, like roots, because like vegetables, even vegetables are low carb. So yeah, trying to remember why I talked about prime, yeah. So prime has like artificial sugar, and yeah, although I did watch that one Matt Pat video where he called out prime. He's like, oh, there's too much potassium, while when you're actually exercising, sodium is the thing that depletes the least, or the fastest, I mean. So if anything, your drink should have sodium, and that's, for example, Gatorade has more sodium. It's like when you drink Gatorade, it's very salty as compared to like Prime.
Yeah, I remember I was looking at a fitness YouTuber talking about various supplements from other uh, other like YouTubers, and one of his primary problems uh, with Prime was that they kept trying to one up its competition by either doubling plus like one for their measurements. And I think he talked about like the hydration problem, and uh, I've seen some posts online also talking about this where uh, multiple people have substituted water for like energy drinks, like Monster with Prime Energy, and it's caused them to experience like extreme exhaustion or like almost collapsing because they are extremely dehydrated after drinking those drinks.
Right, and also like the caffeine crash as well.
That too, but I think it's primarily just because they're really dehydrated.
Right, they just only drink Prime and not water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just jacks them. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess at least in America, I do see Prime, and like I guess these days especially, like back when it first came out, it was actually scarce, but these days, like I do see Prime like on the shelves sometimes, and I guess in America, like not as much people, or like there's like a high enough supply, I guess, where it's in stock now. But apparently, yeah, in the UK, it's like being sold out and people are scalping it like crazy.
Yeah, I think it's simply because UK is a lot smaller, and KSI is a much bigger creator in the UK than all of the other creators in the UK. Like for me, I can't personally name other UK YouTubers outside of KSI or like the Sidemen, whereas in America you have multiple YouTubers, especially in like California. You have a lot of different YouTubers. You have like Ludwig. You have like the whole like Twitch community down here in LA. You have pseudo celebrities like Emma Chamberlain, and like I don't know where she lives, but she's in like America. And we have like Casey Neistat in like New York. So we have like a huge saturation of major creators, and Logan Paul is like one of them. He isn't one of the centralizing figures in America or even in California. He's just another creator who has another product on the shelf. So I don't feel like his fan base is as strong, and also I feel Logan Paul as a name has been going down recently, especially with the CryptoZoo stuff. I mean, it kind of came back he kind of came back because of WWE, but a lot of people have been burnt because of CryptoZoo.
Right, yeah, I remember seeing that CoffeeZilla video, especially the follow-up 6 months later, and he was like messaging Logan that entire 6 months, like, yo, you said you were going to pay everyone back, right? And then eventually it's like, oh yeah, like his lawyers replied or something. And then Moist Critical made a video and he's like, oh, Logan Paul's still scamming. And that kind of sucks, because the thing is with Logan Paul is, I guess his morals are just like pretty like not good, but his skills and like his knowledge of everything is great, because, well, first of all, like Prime and like his marketing skills and whatever, but also actually his filmmaking skills are really, really good.
Wait, is my mic turned off?
Uh-oh. I think the laptop ran out of battery. We will pause for now and we'll sort out these technical difficulties.
All right.
If you want to see more of me and Chrees talking for literally 3 hours, I guess click on the link in the description below, or I can actually put it in the title card. I don't know where I'm pointing, but I can put a title card right here. It's literally 3 hours of us talking. So if you really want us to hear us talk, then you can go there.
And it also has a little bit of audio issues.